I will mention the one study from, this was just published. Can you see this okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, this was just published less than a month ago by a colleague, and I hate to mention his name, he's one of my Canadian friends. But he's the lead author on this. His name is Neil Caro, and he's from Toronto. This is an incredible, astounding piece of work. And this is published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, Vaccines. I would urge you to review his just published paper. I would also urge you to review the paper which was published by the British Medical Journal, the BMJ, just 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the only mainstream medical journal with some semblance of credibility and truth anymore, God bless them, is our motherland, the Brits, British Medical Journal. And the editor-in-chief there actually published a whistleblower, and that whistleblower's name is Paul D. Thacker. And for those of you that think the New England Journal of Medicine has any credibility and is not getting their pockets lined, you must read the British Medical Journal, BMJ, the editor-in-chief, and Dr. Paul D. Thacker in last month's. It's an incredible indictment on the inappropriate, fraudulent management of the data by New England Journal of Medicine and Pfizer. It's stunning. And I'm so grateful for the editor-in-chief of the British Medical Journal to actually allow this whistleblower and publish this. Because fully well, as you said with Dr. Fauci, if any of those allegations in the books were untrue, they could sue him for millions. And the same thing goes for the British Medical Journal. If they're publishing allegations like this in a mainstream medical journal as highly esteemed as the British Medical Journal, you don't do that without having evidence. So the whole cartel is falling apart. I love the book and the recent publication of Dr. Robert Malone and Dr. Matthias Desment, Desment. And they talk about the psychiatric reaction of what's going on in Canada and in the United States of America. Matthias, Mattias, Desment, Desment. And of course, Robert Malone. But they talk about the mass formation psychoses. And other psychiatrists, a friend of mine, Dr. Peter Bregan, and his beautiful bride, Ginger Bregan, who I have a relationship, and he just published the book, We Are the Prey, the coronavirus, We Are the Prey, a bestseller. It's not just RFK, but there's several books out now. But Peter Bregan is an incredible, he's a father of psychiatry. He was just emulated when I was in medical school because he completely revamped the psychiatric industry and took away the brutal, torturous treatment of the mentally ill, including lobectomies and shock therapy and the brutal inpatient care, completely revolutionized the, so I call him, he's dubbed as the conscience of psychiatry, but I renamed him the conscience of healthcare because he outlines, just like RFK, an unbelievable, irrefutable, undeniable paper trail of not just communications between all these organizations, but patents. You can't refute it. But anyways, Robert Malone and Matthias Desment, they talk about mass delusion. The top 30% of people, the 30% in their pyramid, if you will, people in Canada, healthcare workers, United States, healthcare workers, or general public, there's 30% who are essentially brainwashed It doesn't matter their level of education. A lot of them are brilliant people and brilliant physicians, but they are so brainwashed that they are unable to do metanoia. They are unable to look at new data and make a change of mind or a change of course. And when you present them with the data, instead of engaging in a civil discourse like you and I are having, they lash out and do ad hominem attacks and tell you to, basically get lost, and you lose friendships. And so those people we cannot touch. They'll never change their mind. They are locked into their narrative, and they're just untouchable. But then there's the middle 40% of people, of the general public in Canada and in the United States of America, probably all over the world, that are just confused. They get conflicting information from experts like me, and then other, mainstream media. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense. These are the people that we can actually reach by doing what you're doing, Miss Laura Lynn, and by doing what I'm doing. And then there's a lower 30%, people like you and I. We know the truth. We know the light. But of that 30% that really know the truth and the light of what's going on, and I took a Hippocratic oath, so I will step up against the American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology, who has threatened me and every other OBGYN physician in the United States of America. And I know those people, Dr. George Wendell, Dr. Susan Raymond. I know them. They're my colleagues.